programs at the moment with some great partners. To date, we've engaged 135 industry partners. We've drafted 18 challenges, launched 9, and so far to date have received 43 solution submissions and are actively closing the loop on those. And to dig into some of the program specifics, I'm going to be introducing John McPherson, who's our program partner on Greenlight, which is a program launched by the Technology Deployment Network in partnership with the Vancouver Economic Commission. And I'm also very pleased to introduce Matt Zahainich at Clean BC Industry Fund, who we're working with very closely on their challenge program. So without further ado, just want to welcome and thank John McPherson for hopping on the call. And please, take it away.
Thanks so much, Dylan. Thanks, Catriona. Thanks, everybody at Foresight. So the name of the program that we're launching with the Vancouver Economic Commission with Foresight as a service delivery partner is called Project Greenlight. And so that's what I'm going to be talking to everybody about today. And Catriona, you're going to do the slide changes. Okay, so next slide. So I work for the Vancouver Economic Commission. So we're an agency of the City of Vancouver. And we're tasked with growing the economy through different initiatives, strategic initiatives and programs. And our strategy is really to address industry challenges and support companies at each stage of the growth continuum from startup to maturity. So we have a number of different programs that address challenges from incubation to demonstration, local growth, and international growth and expansion. Project Greenlight is the name of a program that supports in the demonstration phase of growth and was one of the sort of key areas that I'm involved in. So next slide. So, oh, that might have skipped ahead, Catriona.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going back.
That's okay.
There we go.
The next slide. Yeah. So Project Greenlight is a regional expansion of a municipal program that we created in 2015 called the Green and Digital Demonstration Program. So we launched that with the City of Vancouver to provide companies facilitated access to City of Vancouver assets for testing emerging technologies. So Project Greenlight is an expansion of this municipal program in partnership with regional partners. And so we set this up to expand the scope and impact of our municipal initiative, really to connect solution providers with major asset owners that are facing key industry challenges. So the focus is on clean tech and digital innovations. Really the higher level purpose is to address Canada's tech adoption gap that we see has emerged over time. Next slide. So some of the benefits to getting involved in as an innovator is around accessing major demonstration partners for future procurement opportunities and to test your solutions in a real world environment and refine and customize the solution to the either municipal client that is a member or one of the big industry partners, and also use the reference to attract inward investment. As an asset owner, and these are the members that are hosting these challenges, it's around providing them access to emerging technologies, shortening their lengthier procurement cycles, and then creating internally cultures of innovation within their organizations. And the network is also set up to promote regional collaboration between these major asset owners. Next slide. So this is the asset owner network. These are the members of our technology network. TransLink, Fortis, Quadrille, New Westminster, and City of Vancouver have all joined to host challenges through our online portal that we're setting up called Project Greenlight. And the foundational support is the Economic Commission. Foresight is our partner in helping do some challenge workshops with their members and then support on an ongoing basis. Financially, we have support from WD for funding this, and as well TD is one of our key sponsors. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, John. So next up, we have Matt Sahynich who works with BC government and particularly on the Clean BC Industry Fund. So Matt, do you want to take it away?
Sure, thanks, Catriona. Can you hear me here?
Yeah.
Okay, great. Good afternoon, everybody. So I'm Matt Sahynich. I'm a director with the Climate Action Secretariat at the BC government. Just a bit of background on me. I started my career working in wind energy. I've been involved in a variety of different energy, natural resource sectors, and climate change policy. I came to my current position a couple of years ago and quite excited to be working on something that's at the meeting point between industry, the economy, and climate change. So the program that I manage is the Clean BC Industry Fund. And this program provides investment support for projects that reduce emissions at BC industrial operations. So these are operations that emit over 10,000 tons of CO2 per year. And they come from a variety of different sectors, many in oil and gas, mining, pulp and paper, forestry, cement manufacturing, landfills, and even an animal rendering operation as well. So there's a wide variety of different sectors that are eligible to apply to the program. And it's funded by a portion of the carbon tax that these large industrial operations pay each year. So last year we had about $12.5 million available in funding, and that funding is going to increase each year as the carbon tax rate increases as well. And while the primary applicant to this program must be one of these large reporting operations, we do encourage partnerships. Mean that if you've got a good solution for reducing emissions at industrial operations, funding provided can help make a business case for your solution at these operations here. And if anybody does want to see a list of the reporting operations, feel free to send me a note and I can point you to some publicly available information on the list of operations. So key criteria for the program, we do focus on commercially available solutions right now. We evaluate proposals based on the cost of the project and emissions reduced as a dollar per ton amount. But we will be looking forward in the future to considering pre-commercial technologies as well in a separate call in the program. So on to the next slide then. So why did we launch a pilot challenge program? And we're working with Foresight on the program this year as a pilot program, the goal being to support BC industry on their innovation path and to encourage operations to try new approaches in solving their emission reduction problems. As a pilot program, we're taking in what we learned this year through our engagements and using that to guide future program development. The challenge program this year, we specifically want to do a few things. We want to, one, support our industrial stakeholders to identify possible emission reduction projects that they can then apply to the industry fund with. We also want to build partnerships between industry, between government, and between tech companies and tech solution providers. And we also want to support our industrial stakeholders to innovate and think outside of traditional approaches to solving problems. So how do I see challenges shaping the recovery economy? I think that challenges will create some opportunities for new ventures during the recovery economy. And what that recovery economy looks like, it's a bit of an evolving situation from what I'm seeing right now. We know that industrial operations are facing some limited cash flow. Right now, capital budgets are being pressured in many sectors. We've seen a lot of federal and provincial programs that have rolled out new approaches, injections of stimulus into the economy. And I'd expect there's more to come across Canada as we're adapting to the evolving economic implications that are coming out of this pandemic now. And we have a lot of, at these operations, a lot of technical and office staff who are working right now. They're not working at facilities, and they actually have a fair bit of time, as Dylan noted earlier, to be working on some longer term and strategic planning on developing projects and proposals right now. So there's a good opportunity to do that kind of strategic thinking, do things differently and rethink how we operate. So I think challenges can help identify projects and position companies to take full advantage of that government stimulus when those programs are rolled out. And there's a few examples of that. There's federal methane reductions funding that's been rolled out by the federal government. The Clean BC Industry Fund is another example of a program that's providing funding for emission reduction projects. So there's many of these opportunities here that are going to provide funding to support investment and support jobs. And then finally, innovation in BC. So what does my vision encompass there? And I think innovation in BC involves a lot of collaboration to create opportunities for clean growth and benefits for all. So that involves government, it involves industrial operations, it involves a variety of private sector companies, and all of us working together for a common goal of clean growth in BC. So I think I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
Over to Catriona.
Thank you, Matt. That was great. Great overview of the Clean BC Industry Fund, and thanks to John to share the Project Greenlight project as well. So now we're going to move on, and Jacob Malthouse from Canada Cleantech Alliance and Foresight is going to share some projects through the Connect project.
Thanks, Catriona. Thanks everyone for joining the call today. We're really interested in some of the results of this project because, as we all know, Canada is an export-driven economy. In 2019, over $44 billion of exports of income was generated by exports for BC. And as we look to restart BC's economy, we are going to see a real demand for understanding what the export economy looks like and how we can partner with international companies. One of the things we found from the Connect project was that there is real interest and demand for Canadian innovative solutions overseas. The Connect project really looked at identifying companies that were based either in Europe or in Latin America and who had made a commitment to the Sustainable Development Goals, but did not yet have the technology solutions to achieve the goals that they've set up. And this needs gap is going to be a really important strategic opportunity for Canadian innovators over the next 5 years. You are seeing very strong goals being set by large multinational enterprises who are then being forced to turn to small and medium enterprises who are more agile to complement their existing internal innovation streams as they look to achieve those goals that they've set on the international stage. So for example, one opportunity is as simple as trying to figure out a new packaging solution for potato chips. PepsiCo has a large manufacturing facility in Mexico. They are looking to implement a circular economy solution where they can figure out how to keep potato chips fresh without using packaging that must be thrown out. So we have an open challenge right now actually looking for those solutions, and a number of Canadian companies who have stepped up to provide that solution. One of the interesting things about this approach is that these sustainability development goals are going to be in demand regardless of short-term shifts due to the pandemic. The SDGs are a long-term 10-year framework, and these companies are committed to developing on these. In some cases, we actually feel that they will be accelerated over time. Another example that we worked with was what Dylan proposed, which is hydrogen solutions for steel smelting in Austria through voestalpine. This is a really interesting project because it's being driven by the European Union's 2050 carbon neutrality goals. And what you're looking at here are really seismic shifts in how nation states and coalitions of nation states are seeking to reduce their emissions while achieving energy independence. This is something that is a long-term trend, and Canada and BC are well positioned to take advantage of this opportunity. We really saw from our international partners two sets of demands. The first was companies are interested to frequently touch base with the Canadian market to understand the state of technology. So even if you don't feel that your technology is yet at a stage where it can provide or win a challenge or provide the solution at scale, we really encourage you to continue to submit, because the companies are gathering intelligence and they're making a note of your TRL, your technology readiness level, and the opportunities that might be available to them, if not now, in a few years. The other thing that we're really seeing is the opportunity to collaborate over a long period of time. So if you are at an area where you're ready, you are likely to fit into a constellation of other small and medium enterprises that these large firms are developing. And it's potentially a great new business opportunity, but also a long-term M&A opportunity. One of the things that we've noticed is that we haven't really seen a downturn, both in the enthusiasm of Canadian companies for these deals or in the opportunity for these big companies to develop partnerships with Canadian firms. So I do think that challenges and overseas challenges will be a critical part of Foresight's ecosystem into the future. We will also be looking to establish different sizes and scope of challenge, and also to start to scale up interprovincial challenges. Canada is highly regionalized, and we are seeing a demand and are interested in your feedback on support for developing and launching challenges regionally as well as internationally. That's it from me, Catriona.
Thank you, Jacob. So thanks to all of our speakers today. We now have a sense of what industry is looking for at the very local level in the Metro Vancouver area, in British Columbia, and also internationally as well. So we see there is appetite for solution providers. They do want to know about Canadian clean tech, and they are looking to adopt and find market intelligence as well. So I think now we're going to move into a Q&A, and we're going to have an open discussion. But first, before that, I'm going to hand it over to Dylan, who's going to moderate the Q&A going forward. And maybe, Dylan, you want to kickstart with a question while I look at the chat and organize some questions. Okay? Dylan?
Sorry, I was on mute. Yeah, since Matt Zahajnic was our last guest speaker to speak, I was thinking of kicking off with a Clean BC question, maybe a very quick clarification, which is, can you speak to how the Clean BC Industry Fund interacts with other funding programs? Because you called out the Methane Emission Reduction Fund. So a little bit of clarity on how those intermix would be helpful.
Sure, no problem. So the Clean BC Industry Fund will provide up to 50% of eligible expenses for projects that receive offers of funding through our program. We also allow for stacking with other government programs, whether it's provincial program, federal program, up to 75% of the project cost. So we have had some projects in the past year that have had funding from other government program sources, and we'll work with those programs on these projects here, jointly provide funding, and work together on a path to implement these projects.
Thank you. Just a note for everybody that if you have questions, please feel free to use our chat. Otherwise, I'll continue to kind of seed some of these discussions. maybe one for John McPherson. Can you speak about sort of the broader vision for TDN and where this actually evolved from? Or sorry, TDN is the kind of the wider umbrella for, I'm speaking about Greenlight in particular.
Yeah, absolutely. So this, I think I mentioned briefly during the opening that it emerged from a municipal program that we launched really to address the city's desire to manage unsolicited inquiries that came to all city staff, the mayor's office, engineering departments. So we basically set this up in 2015 as a funnel, and GDP, our program, and VEC, we acted like a filter to all the incoming inquiries to the city of Vancouver to reduce the administrative burden on city staff who are taking all of these outside the box non-procurement and procurement innovation inquiries that didn't necessarily fit into a request for proposals or an existing RFEOI that was out. So oftentimes we found that when companies and innovators contact the city, and it's a little bit of a unique proposition and a unique solution, it ends up dying sort of a slow death, that opportunity with the procurement department, or goes on some lost trail somewhere and doesn't materialize into anything. So what we did was we created a streamlined pathway and process for innovators to engage the city in a more practical way that gave them an opportunity to engage city staff. So over time, we launched about 12 different projects, a quantum dot LED lighting solution with City Hall staff, a Velometro trial with city staff using their enclosed electric bike. We did an energy pilot with the IT department for data center management software solution. We did a whole range of different kinds of pilots over about 4.5 years. And as mentioned, we expanded the scope to include other partners in the region to broaden the impact. Really, the long-term vision of this is to create a growing, scalable network that adds new members over time that basically are all aligned around a vision towards sustainability. They have bold targets around sustainability and operational efficiency goals. And when we have this regional alliance that's all working together, we really boost the region's reputation as a place for local adoption, as a place for innovation, as a place that's willing to take on new challenges, new innovations over time. Our reputation changes and we build and strengthen our ecosystem.
Thank you. Thank you very much for that, John. I'm going to we're getting some questions in the chat here. Starting with Jacqueline, was asking a question clarifying if any of the Connect challenges are closed, is the program still accepting applications? So we have we had deadlines, because obviously we wanted to keep the process moving along. That being said, the Connect program, it's about fostering relationships. I would say that if there's one that jumps out that was missed, please reach out to us. We'll do our best to include you in the process. Yeah, so I would say, the official, some of them are closed, or we're beginning to organize the pitches, and at that point, it might be too late, but I would urge you to look at the list of challenges, which Jacob will share in the chat, and we'll do our best to make those links. The next question is from Lynn, and I think Jacob might have posted an answer, but I'll just state.
Yep, I did.
Okay, for everyone, it says, are these challenges Canada cleantech or for BC-based companies? And this is across, this is for all Canadian, so this is pan-Canadian, as I think Jacob noted. How many new challenges do we expect for this year? We just finished our fiscal year, and so these plans are in the works. So stay tuned for more. I would recommend, as the executive director, please email Jacob, who can put you on mailing list and make sure that you get the latest and greatest. The next question is from Catriona, echoing some some questions that were sent to her. What's the intake for Project Greenlight? Is it for startups to deploy their tech with asset owners, or can asset owners put out their challenges? That's a very good question. yeah, maybe explain some of the program mechanics.
Yep, sure. We're open to accepting new members for this that are willing to host challenges, as long as they have like a vision around green and digital adoption. Maybe they have to be a large enterprise with infrastructure and assets in the region of Vancouver, and also an innovation team and the resources to deliver projects. So we're definitely open to receiving new, taking on new members, which are major asset owners, to host challenges. So please contact me if for whoever asked that question. And I see a question around the launch and timeline. So I'll address that later, but I think the second question was around startups. Was it startups, Dylan? Or the stage?
Yep.
Yeah. So
with respect to how, yeah, that might tie into how do SMEs engage with the platform?
Yeah. So right now we're currently going through a challenge discovery work process with these big organizations. The portal, Project Greenlight, will publish those challenges, and the innovators have an opportunity to apply. They can be in Metro Vancouver, local. They can be international. They just have to meet the criteria that's listed on the challenge website. We're looking for later stage technology readiness level, so 7 to 9. They should have sort of have a little bit of experience already. It can't be just straight out of the lab. It has to have been tested a little bit first. Just the willingness and acceptance from big organizations, their thresholds are a little bit different. So they might be a little bit risk averse, so we're looking for, solutions that are a little bit later stage on the commercialization timeline. And it doesn't necessarily have to be from the city of Vancouver or even Metro Vancouver. It can be from anywhere, a solution from anywhere in Canada or even international.
Yeah, actually, thank you for calling that out, John. And it's there is a couple of questions in the chat that kind of all circle this, and maybe it's good just to clarify it all in one go. The two programs, so Project Greenlight and the Clean BC Industry Fund, these challenges are promoted pan-Canadian and globally. Obviously, our desire and preference is for great Canadian companies to rise to the top, but specifically those challenge programs are really around the impact and solutions. So we really are looking for great ideas everywhere, including domestic. The Canada Cleantech Alliance is the program. The Connect program is the reverse. So we're actually only soliciting challenges from international partners, and these are only broadcast or promoted to Canadian cleantech companies. And it's an export development exercise specifically to foster relationships between these large global industry stakeholders and Canadian cleantech companies. And just one more point to add there is that one of the huge advantages of the Connect program is the fact that there is a substantial differentiation in terms of, let's say, aggressiveness in investment and timelines and roadmaps between, for example, European companies versus Canadian companies. Just to give an example, as the projects that we're talking about, are incredibly ambitious. But more than that, they're also, they're in the planning stages. They're already in the kind of the budgeting stages. These are massive companies that are in traditional oil and gas industries and whatnot. But the European mindset is very, very aggressive on this front, and we need to be aware of that because sometimes we're a little bit insulated in Canada, and we need to know that globally, the competition is taking sustainability and greenhouse gas reduction and all those things very, very seriously. And it also means that for Canadian cleantech companies, I wouldn't just rely on our domestic marketplace, although we do have some great industry partners that are moving ahead. You really have to think globally. So just wanted to make that one little point. There was a second question from through Catriona, which is, can the link that Matt mentioned about the list of operations be sent to all of us? this is publicly available information. Matt, maybe you can speak to this, but certainly we can share these details.
Sure. Yeah, I'll post a link maybe in the chat. I'll post a link of the Industry Fund website, but also a specific page which shows the greenhouse gas emission reports for industrial operations in BC. And in there has a list of all the companies that report publicly on their greenhouse gas emissions.
That's great. Yeah, thank you, Matt. And another point that to clarify, which I don't know if anybody asked, but just to be clear, the only people that can apply for Clean BC industry funding or submit projects are these BC large emitters. And that's often a point of a bit of confusion where if you're an SME and you have solutions, you want to initiate engagement or discussion with these industry partners, either independently or through our challenge process, because SMEs can't apply for the funding. It's only these industry partners that can apply, while potentially leveraging solutions from SMEs. So that's an important clarification. From Richard Adamson, are these programs exclusive to BC-based companies? I think I answered that. From C. Armstrong, question: did I miss when the Clean BC Industry Fund will issue the RFP? No, you have not. Matt, maybe you can speak to this. This is some fairly recent news, I think.
Yes, we will be launching our 2020 RFP quite shortly here. So I would recommend keeping updated on the web link that I just posted there for the Industry Fund, as we will be launching that new call quite shortly here.
Yeah, it was a little bit delayed, obviously, in terms of COVID impacts and a number of other things. But yeah, it's due to be coming out, I think, imminently here. I think, okay, Arman Motagi, sorry if I didn't pronounce your last name right, but there's a question about Project Greenlight. When will the website go online, and do you have a link right now? John, maybe you could speak to the platform development.
Yeah, we don't have a link right now, but we're currently building the site and working with the organizations on helping them articulate the challenges that are going to go out or call for innovations. So we expect it'll be launch ready, or will launch by this summer. Sorry, I can't give a more exact timeline, but my guess right now is around August, July, August, hopefully sooner. There's been some delays because of COVID-19, but we're working through it right now as quickly as possible. But we're hoping to have at least 2 of the 5 members ready to launch their challenges on our web portal by August, hopefully sooner.
Thank you, John. Another one for John, which I think I might have addressed already, but does a company need to be in Vancouver proper or even Metro Van to participate? I think that might be from the industry sponsor side, like being an actual TDN member.
Yeah, companies can be from anywhere.
Okay.
Yep.
Thank you for highlighting that. And just to reiterate that, if you're submitting solutions to the challenges, it's promoted globally. From Stefan Mueller, another question about deadlines. The invitation email for a couple of challenges were sent out after the deadline.
Yeah, I've addressed those, Dylan.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Okay, maybe this has already been said. How do you know whether we made it under the deadline? I think, did you address that as well?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Okay.
So I think, sorry, Dylan, just to jump in, because I think you've covered off most of the questions in the chat.
Yep.
Does anybody else have anything top of mind they would like to learn from any of our project partners or from the Foresight team today? Please post. Okay.
Just sorry, just one last question that was actually sent to me privately. I'll post it. everyone, because I know we're wrapping up, but just want to make sure that everybody gets a chance here. So it says, for international ventures participating in challenges, is there any support to navigate the legal aspects from technical regulation to financial qualification and everything in between? So if I think this is directed towards the Canada Cleantech Alliance Connect program. There are, insofar as support for putting in place non-disclosure agreements, yes, we can assist with this. In terms of project follow-up, this is really dependent on how your relationship evolves with the company. That being said, in our engagements with these industry partners, piloting the technology in Canada before delivery internationally is acceptable. There may be a number of global specifications that you need to meet, but by and large, that's a negotiation between yourself and the industry partner, yeah. Okay.
Okay. So we will share. Thank you, Dylan, and thank you everybody for joining. Edson, I just see that you posted a question. Is there a list of BC major emitters available? Yes. If you go back into the chat, Patricia Russell has shared the inventory for industrial operations, as did Matt as well. Okay. We're going to wrap up now. I just want to say thank you very much to everyone for joining over their lunch, or maybe they had a cup of tea. Foresight's here to support you. We will share the contact details for everybody that was on this webinar today, as well as the recording and the presentation. If you have any requirements, please do reach out to the Foresight team. You can see all our names here and what we do at Foresight. Please do keep in touch, and we're looking forward to continuing to collaborate with you as we navigate this economic recovery. There's still a ton of projects, as we've just learned, that are online and are going forward, and we look forward to working with you. Thank you.
Thank you.